Hi, welcome to the Lisa Saunders Show. I'm really excited today because I have a best-selling children's author with me today. I have Tish Rabe, who recently moved to my area, although she does still have an apartment in New York City. She is a best-selling children's book author, having written over 160 books for Sesame Street, Disney, Blue's Clues, Curious George, Clifford, and many more. And my big shocker is now that I'm a grandmother, I went down to help take care of my grandson, and there, lo and behold, was a book by her that she wrote for babies before they're born. And my daughter just couldn't believe that I knew the actual author, Tish Rabe. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's delightful to be here.
Well, you do so many things that I had no idea what we should really focus and talk about. So why don't you just tell me all the things you're doing, or just talk about whatever you want to talk about.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, I am a children's book author. I did not start out to be a children's book author. I started out to be an opera singer. So I sing all the time, everywhere I go.
However, we can actually see you, right? I can see
yes.
you in Mystic, because you and I both live in Mystic, and you are performing in Mystic.
Yes,
so
I sing at the Stake Loft in Mystic.
Okay, that'd be great.
But my big thing I'm working on now is I have taken over writing the Cat in the Hat books for Dr. Seuss Enterprises in La Jolla, California. The real Dr. Seuss, as I call him to the kids, died in 1991, and I started in 1998. In 2018, I will have been doing this for 20 years.
It's amazing that I am actually talking to the next Mr. Dr. Seuss.
You're right. And the funny thing is that this was a project he started. This was his idea. This was not my idea. He wanted science books for kids in rhyme. So when birds want to go on a winter vacation, they all take a trip and they call it migration.
And you come up with all this
stuff? I come up with this stuff all day long. This is what I do.
So how do you know the science to write?
Very good question. I have to go to the library and do the research. I do some online research.
Do they give you the topic? Does the publisher?
Sometimes.
Who's
sometimes.
the publisher?
Random House.
Okay, so they say, sometimes they say, okay, we want you to have a book on this particular topic.
Right.
Okay.
Sometimes they'll say, can you do a book about space? Or in this case, Can You See a Chimpanzee is all about primates. And sometimes I'll go to them and go, every kid has got a cat or a dog. How about What Cat Is That? My cat book, or If I Ran the Dog Show, all about dogs. So sometimes it's my idea. Sometimes it's an assignment.
And then you just have to figure out how to rhyme with things like migration. Mm-hmm. And I've heard I've just socially, we've been together, and you've suddenly rhymed something we're talking about.
I rhyme all the time. I do rhyme all the time, as it turns out. Yes, over the years, when I first started, my husband got me a computer program called A Million Gajillion Rhymes. And when I first started, I would put in a word and see what the rhymes came up on my computer. I'm at the point now where I just know them all. Whatever rhyme it is.
Interesting. So you can train yourself to rhyme.
And it's funny, in preschool, these are targeted to first and second grade. Mm-hmm. Oddly, it's going to sound funny, but there are not that many rhyming words you can use with that age group, because if the words are too long, they can't read them in the first place. So we're really careful to keep the words short. The other thing is interesting. These are all approved by experts in their field. Mm-hmm. So if I rhyme something and I get the science off by trying to wedge a rhyme in there, they will check it and make sure.
Oh, so you have fact checkers.
We do.
Checking you out.
And I wrote a book called Miles and Miles of Reptiles, and I was contacted by forgotten friends who rescue reptiles people got and didn't want and let go. Please don't do this, folks watching. And he said he read the whole book to his son, waiting to find a mistake about reptiles, and the whole book was perfect on the scientific level. So that was great.
What a thrilling project.
It is. It is. I started in 1998, as I said, and I just turned in my 19th. So I don't think anyone realized how popular these books were going to be, but they help kids learn. The rhythm and rhyme helps them remember the facts. Which is
so
great. Where
do you write? Do you sit in your Mystic house and look at the Mystic River? Are you in New York hearing beeping and
honking? Well, the good thing about my job is I can do my job anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I tell the kids, I do a lot of author visits in schools around the area. And I always tell them I always have a notebook with me, even if it's a small one, my pocketbook, whatever. because you will find that ideas come at the strangest time. You know, I was going to meet a friend for lunch once, and I literally pulled into a church parking lot and wrote A Very Crabby Christmas for Dr. Seuss in probably 20 minutes. I mean, that's a rarity.
Right.
But it just hit me. I'm in my car, and I suddenly said, I know what this book should be about. So yeah, the muse hits at very odd times sometimes.
Well, these are good books for you because you're such a cheerful person, you know, on your own without having your cheerful books, but your books are very cheerful. And it was a thrill when you gave me a book for my grandson, and I read it to him, and at 4 months old, he's answering me when I'm asking, because you ask little questions throughout the book.
Right. Well, that book is exciting for me because there's a copy right here, because I was actually approached by Reach Out and Read, and Reach Out and Read gives free books to low-income kids at their pediatrician well child visits.
And this is that organization
That
up
is
here.
them, yes.
Okay.
And I had been thinking for 10 years that I wanted to write a book where you have little questions. You know, why are the kittens smiling? Why are what is Mummy Cat doing? And I never could get a major publisher to agree to put them in. So I said to Reach Out and Read, I said, you know what, this is a perfect book to give to caregivers who struggle with reading themselves, very few words on the page. I said, I will just publish it myself. So 1 year ago, I put together Tish Rabe books and published it myself. And not only did I publish it in English, but then it came out that it would be wonderful if it was also in Spanish and English. So this is the Spanish-English version of the book with the little ducklings. So they've been hugely successful, and I'm very, very proud of them, and it's worked out great.
Well, like you said, he loved me asking him questions.
Yeah.
You know, was his answer.
Yeah. Well, he's only 4 months old.
No, I know, but I just think it's a great idea, just as a reminder to people that are reading to ask questions, even if the child can't answer you.
Well, the other thing that's interesting
applause.
is what they told me at Reach Out and Read is they actually learn to read faster. If they're engaged, not just sitting there, they're thinking, you know, what is the little puppy thinking? That's you know, that's engaging them in what goes on in the book. Another thing I've done a lot
and that's just been picked up by a publisher.
Yes, this actually is going to come out in January with Penguin Random House.
And how did that happen? Like I said, you're just so wildly successful. You're the dream of every author.
Every author. Well, what happened was on a whim, it's really a whim, I took one of each of them and I put it in a bag and I sent them to the head of who knew there's a head of board books at Penguin Random House. And from the minute she opened the bag, she just had to have them. And I'm very excited because once Random House brings them out, the distribution will go to Barnes & Noble and Amazon and much broader than Tish Rabe Books, Mystic Connecticut, Post Office Box, whatever, can possibly do.
Right. Well,
So
that's exciting.
that's very exciting.
And so that gives hope to authors maybe that haven't found a publisher that if they really believe in their work, maybe they should self-publish.
One thing I would urge anyone out there who wants to self-publish, both of these were edited by a professional editor.
Yes.
You need a copy editor and someone to help you with editing. The bane of a lot of books that are self-published is nobody looked at it but you.
Right.
So no one helped you say, this is the fourth time you've said whatever. And you really, really need an outside view.
Right, yes, good advice.
Really
and
good
where do you
advice.
recommend people find a professional
They have
editor?
them online. There's a lot of. I happened to ask a friend of mine who is professional, but they're very easy to find online, and there are better ones than others. But the outside view is hugely helpful when you write your own book.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for that good advice. So what else are you doing?
Well, the other thing I do is I tell the kids, I start in the schools, I started out to be a singer. I was going to be an opera singer. And what I've been doing is writing a lot of children's songs. I've written over 250 children's songs.
Wow.
And this one means a lot to me because this originally was just a book. And Sesame Street asked me to put an audio CD. So they asked me to write a lullaby for Elmo. So it turns out in this book, Elmo's having a sleepover, and he's not sure how he feels about the whole sleepover thing. And his mom sings him a lullaby, which goes something like, there are lots of fish in the ocean, there are lots of flowers that grow, there are lots of birds flying in the sky, but I want you to know there is just one moon shining in the night. The same moon shines on all of us when we say goodnight. So tonight look at the moon, and I will do that too. If you go to sleep and start to dream, remember I love you. Remember I love you.
Wow.
So she makes Elmo feel better. Oh. Isn't that pretty?
It's beautiful, and I love that you can use a handle on it.
Is that the cutest thing?
Yeah, so the children, it's so much easier for them to carry. That's a great idea.
These are so cute. So, so it was really fun because I was able to use my musical background and my writing.
Yeah,
as well.
So nothing's ever lost, because I know some people get so discouraged. Oh, I majored in this, but I ended up in that. And I said, yeah, but toward the end of your life, you're probably going to end up using something that you went to school for. Although you've been singing right along. Right along,
yes.
Like I saw a clip of you singing. You've got to have a powerful voice there.
Oh, thank you.
So it's who's your friends? It's Tish Rabe and Friends.
Tish Rabe and Friends.
Who are your friends?
We have not only do we have guest artists who come on and perform with us, we have local mystic people in our band, and then our children sing with us sometimes. The children, they're 25 and 26, but we love singing jazz. I love singing country, contemporary country, so it's a joy to be able to do it again.
Do you write contemporary country
I have actually written a really cool new jazz song.
Oh, yeah?
When I was singing in New York, I was 24 when I started. And the Sesame Street music director came to hear me sing one night, and he said, I just have one comment. You're 24, you sound great, you look great, and you only sing the blues. He said, maybe you could sing something a little more upbeat. So I've written a new jazz tune. I'm hoping to get it to someone, maybe Harry Connick Jr. or somebody, called I Don't Sing the Blues.
Oh.
Why sing about stormy weather or clouds of gray? I'd rather sing about the man I love than the one that got away. So it's very upbeat.
Right.
Very
the
positive.
men you love instead of the one that got away. All right. So, and what else? Now, do you play with your husband in New York City as well? Are you mostly appearing in Mystic area? Or where do you usually appear?
Our band, Tish Rabe and Friends, plays at the Metropolitan Room in New York, which is on West 22nd Street between 5th and 6th.
Okay, great.
We're going to be there in a couple weeks, and we play there 2, 3, 4 times a year. And we do sing the Mystic area. We've sung the Old Lyme Inn in Old Lyme, and we have a really nice quartet. And as I said, a lot of people come to jam and sit in, and it's a lot of fun.
Have you ever played sang at Griswold Inn?
I have not, actually. We thought about that, but I haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, that's so fun to go there.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of places that have music around here.
It's true. It's true.
That I enjoy listening to. Well, who else do you ever play with? Just random people?
Sometimes, and I am always, I know so many songs that if we go to some crazy bar and there's somebody playing, before you know it, I'm in there singing something with somebody. So this is all going on. The other thing that's exciting is I am very involved with Reach Out and Read, as you know, and I'm very excited about that. And I'm launching a campaign called Magical Milestones. It's on my website. Magical Milestones is, I could write a poem for you about Paul's birthday. You send me a picture of Paul, we put it together, and all the money from Magical Milestones goes to buy books for kids, for needy kids.
Oh, it's wonderful.
So it's called Magical Milestones. It's hilarious. People send me, their picture of their niece and the things she likes to do and stuff, and I have to rhyme it all.
Oh, wow.
Which is really interesting. So it's all a rhyming Dr. Seuss poem.
Wow.
Called Magical Milestones, and people think it's a lot of work, but it's so fun. And it's
so
it's
the income
from
that goes out to Reach Out and
That's
Read.
right.
Okay.
It basically costs $10 to buy a needy child a book, and the Magical Milestones money goes right to buying a needy child a book.
Now, how does Reach Out and Read get books to children?
Well, it's interesting. They're there's a couple of different organizations that give out books to kids. What sets our organization apart is we are the only one that gives out books at the doctor's office. And the doctors who work with Reach Out and Read are the most passionate people I have ever met. And they believe that giving a child a book and helping that child learn to read is as important as nutrition and vaccinations and everything else. And they absolutely target families. In many cases, the books that they hand, like mine, they hand these kids are not only the first children's book in the house, they're the only book in the house or apartment. So they're showing kids, they also said, so interesting, if they hand a child a book, they can tell by the way the child holds the book, if he drops the book, if he holds it upside down, doesn't realize it. A lot of cognitive things about this child, literally just from handing him or her a book. So the doctors in Reach Out and Read are just amazing. And they care, and we're working really hard to get them the books they need.
So are these all pediatricians?
Yes.
For the most part? And is this through the state of Connecticut or other states?
No, this is this has been around, first of all, since 1989.
Okay.
And it's, it's a nonprofit. And one of the things that's interesting is that they will give these books out, and it starts at 6 months and goes to the child is 5. So for like $100, you can fund a child for all those years. And they get 2 books a year. And
it's from the doctor's office. It's not mailed to them, but it's taken to participating doctors. Okay.
So the doctors are trained on how to teach the parents how to read to their children with the book. And they get...
A pediatrician takes the time to do this?
These people feel it is that important. What's happening in the state of Connecticut, which kind of shook me up, is that the gap between affluent kids and low-income kids when it comes to literacy is widest in the state of Connecticut than any other state in the nation.
Wow.
And we can fix that, but we need to get books into the hands of kids who don't have any books. And what happens now is they get to school in kindergarten and they're already behind. And to make up that gap when they've already started, back, not knowing how to read, is very, very difficult. So I feel so passionately about it because it shouldn't be happening in the state of Connecticut, not our fabulous state.
Right.
So we need to fix it, and we can fix it. But that's why I'm so involved.
Well, it's just really interesting that the doctors are the ones handing it out. Because I know I've donated my children's novel to shelters, family shelters, and daycare centers, never dreaming that doctors are...
Well, the nice thing about, you're right, because the nice thing about Reach Out and Read, and this is a Rosemary Wells poster she did for them with a doctor, is that the parents are, at the well child visit, they're right there.
Right.
And they respect the doctors, and they get information from the doctors, and they want their children to succeed, and this is a great vehicle for getting them started on the road to educational success.
That's wonderful. Is this the project you're most proud of, or do you have others? I mean, you do so much, so I don't know where you spend your brain.
What are you spending your time? Well, I am very proud of this. This was my first ever self-published book. I did have it copy edited, as we talked about, and edited. But honestly, I wasn't sure what the reaction was going to be. You never know.
Right.
And the illustrator I had worked with before on my I Believe Bunny books. This is my inspirational line. And he was nice enough to do this book for me to sort of help me out. And I was just thrilled that the people at Penguin Random House loved the book that much and didn't change anything. Sometimes when you sell a self-published book to an editor, first thing you do is change everything.
Right.
And I'm happy to report the new book that comes out, the new version of this that's going to come out, they did not change anything.
Wonderful.
So that's very exciting.
So my grandson liked it as is.
He did. He loved the pony spread, I think you told me. This is his favorite, the ponies right here. Little Paul.
So what is the I Believe Bunny books? What are those
about? I Believe Bunny books. This was a project I wanted over the years. I have written for everybody, as you know, Clifford, Blue's Clues, everybody. I wanted my own character. And as a child, I was in love with the Beatrix Potter books, and I wanted a watercolor artist. And the I Believe Bunny believes he can make a difference in the world. And what I tell the kids when I go to schools is what I do when I write a picture book is I write the last page first. The last page is very important real estate in a children's book. It's the last thing a child hears before they go to sleep. And in this case, this is just like the I Believe Bunny. You may get a surprise. You can make a difference, even a bunny your size. So in the little story, he's...
I'm going to cry. You're
I
right.
know,
That's
see,
beautiful.
we're breaking you up right there. In the little story, he's having an average day, and it's raining, and he's tired of the rain, and he hears a little mouse who can't swim. And she's calling to him for help. And he's just a little bunny, so what's he going to do? He doesn't know how to swim either. But he manages to get his friends together, and they save her. So that's why I have at the end, just like the I Believe Bunny, you may get a surprise, you can make a difference, even a bunny your size. Never too young to help out.
That's lovely.
Yeah, so he's out there in the world.
Now, is this by a publisher, or did you publish this
This
one?
was published by Thomas Nelson, the world's largest publisher of Bibles in the world. And I'm working on one now that's about anti-bullying. I feel, of course, very passionate about that too. And what I learned was that sometimes kids get bullied who are shy. So in my new book, the little porcupine comes to visit them, and she's shy. So the I Believe Bunny becomes her friend. But anti-bullying.
So it's a series.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. There's sharing. I've got sharing books. They're all with the bunny.
Okay,
and
so
his
this is the
friends.
character. Okay, now I get it. Because you were saying you wanted to get your own character, and this is your own
my own
character. And the character's name is I Believe Bunny. Is the whole name?
Yes, he's the I Believe Bunny, and. Yeah, so, and it turned out the beautiful watercolor drawings, which is the same artist from Love You, Hug You. So,
Well, I'll have to get my grandson, little Paul, your books.
little Paul. And the sweet thing about this is there are 3 things I'll always do: love you, hug you, read to you. And those to me are the 3 things: love
You'll
you,
do for
hug
your
you,
grandchildren
read to you.
and-
Right, my grandsons. So it's a fun job. It's kind of crazy, but I just have a new book coming out. I am a mom, a stepmom, and a grandmother.
Okay.
So my golden book, I Love You, Grandma, comes out in April of next year. So I'm very excited about that. I've never had a grandma book. It's my first. So that's exciting. And my next Dr. Seuss book is High, Low, Where Did They Go? All about animal camouflage, which comes out in April also.
Where'd they go?
Where'd they go?
You're so clever. Well, you're very inspired. Clearly, I feel like you have your gift from above. I mean, it's just things you come out with.
Right.
Are amazing. And you just write all the time?
I do.
Like, what's a typical day? I mean, it's hard because you live between 2 places, but if you could give me a typical day.
Typical day, what I really do is I write my books originally in longhand, in spiral notebooks. And I don't go to the computer until they're very, very, very far along. So I'm always carrying the books with me all the time. So if I leave our interview here, I could get in the car and suddenly go, the turtle, something about, whatever it is, and I'll write it in the book.
Right.
Because I really have not had a lot of success being creative on the computer. I have to be apart from it. When I get to the computer is when I'm going to start to send it in to the editor. One thing I tell kids all the time in these school visits is these are deceptively hard to write. Not only are they all based on science, but they have to rhyme. The rhyme has to be correct. They have to be approved twice, not only the facts, but also the pictures. So there's a lot of work that goes into these books.
We have 5 minutes. So who is, you said it has to be approved twice. Is one an English person and one a scientist?
The two approvals are the scientist because he has to approve my words.
Okay.
Then he has to approve the sketches. Then he has to approve the color.
Okay.
So if you have a marmoset and he's not the right color, we have to fix it. So I always learn something doing these books. Who knew what color a marmoset is, first of all? But I'm very, very proud of it. And what I say to everybody, I'll say to you and anyone watching, is just keep reading and writing. You cannot be a writer if you're not a reader. And I urge kids to keep reading and writing. Reading and writing, both are so exciting. Read a book or write a story, start right now.
I'm sure you
You're going to
made
be
that
singing
up
that.
right
I
now.
did. Are you going to be singing that
Just
tonight?
now, or is
No. No, I sing that at every school visit, but you get the idea. No, I make up stuff fast, but no.
When you go on a school visit, do you look like you are now, or do you dress like Mother Goose?
No. I just go the way I am now. I don't wear the red and white striped hat. I don't do any of it. I just go as an author. That's what I do. But thank you for having me on.
Oh,
this was
well,
so fun.
you have another minute or two. Is there anything else you want children to know, or parents or doctors to know?
I cannot stress enough how important it is to read to your kids. Everyone's tired, everyone's working, everyone's, whatever, but anything you can do to read to your kids, and feel free, even if it's not a book like mine, you can come up with questions that will, just look at the picture. It's harder, it's funny, it's harder than you think, but you could look at this and say, what do you think the butterfly is thinking? What do you think the butterfly is thinking? It's a beautiful day, right?
Yeah, that's what
it doesn't have to be huge, the answer. But I think anytime you engage children in what is going on in the book, it really helps them learn to read.
Right.
And that's our goal, get kids to learn to read.
Well, and you get them to sing too? Is that important?
Well, that never hurts. I sing to everybody all the time, so yeah. Yes, and singing, you could sing the I Believe Bunny song, you could make it up out of your head.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't
Where do you
have
get
to be.
do you make up tunes as
I do,
well?
and sometimes what's fun to do, if you want to, is use a public domain song.
Oh.
Like reading and writing is down by the station early in the morning. So I just took reading and writing, both are so exciting. Read a book or write a story, start right now.
Didn't think of that.
Take a public domain song, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, Row 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 Your Boat. Put your own words to it. Use your child's name. That would be cute. Down by the station, little Paul is laughing. See? I could do that. Get him on the phone. Let's get him on the phone. So, so you can do that kind of stuff.
Right. Well, Tish, thank you so much for coming. I've learned a lot, been inspired.
Well, keep reading and writing.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Lisa Saunders Show. But we do actually have 1 minute if you want something else to say.
Well, the only thing I would say, please feel free to go on the websites, reachoutandread.org. And if you can help us at all, or you want me to write a poem for your child, or your kid's graduation, or they're all heart tugs. These poems are very heart tuggy.
Okay.
And magical milestones, I'd be happy to.
Okay, and then to go to your website, that you have your website is, say it when you go ahead and say it.
TishRabe.com. TishRabe.com.
Now, can people see your over 160 books?
Oh, the whole list is on there.
The whole list, and
list,
and how to get them, and if people want you to come on their show, if they're jealous that you came on my show, they can get you on their TV show.
Or TishRabe@gmail.com.
Okay,
I answer
they can
that too.
contact you.
I'm easy to find.
Okay,
I'm hard to miss. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'm so glad you came on my show. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for coming on to the Lisa Saunders Show. And I look forward to seeing you next week.